friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at a knife from a brand new knife company. This knife company is based in Germany called Berserk Blades. I did an unboxing of one of their knives a few weeks ago. Focus up here, would you? There you go, Berserk Blades. And they, like I said, based out of Germany. These knives, well, they've got two knives right now, and they've got more in production, more in design, more in various stages of whatever. But they got two knives listed right now. They got the YAR and the RAK. And the theme of this company, or the motto of this company, is Journey to the Past, or something like that. And it's modern versions of old knives. And I'm talking about old knives. And the first pair of knives that they're doing are based on the SEAX. And the SEAX is a really old European knife. And see, it wasn't printing at all. This is just a little guy, just a sweet little SEAX, a little tiny hand SEAX. And they also make a big one. It's a little over a foot long, or right around a foot long, almost a 7-inch cutting edge. And it's similar to this one, having a great big grip area right. This little guy, it's light, it's tiny. This one's 9C or 18 MOV, which is pretty much a Chinese version of 440C, give or take a little bit. It's a decent steel. I really like this stainless steel. I've reviewed a load of knives that use this steel, and you can get it in a stonewash finish or a black wash finish. And right now they only have acrylic in black for the handle scale. So a 3D milled black acrylic handle scales. And I'm going to show you that. We've got Kydex friction or grip. The grip, it holds on there. It's a taco Kydex sheath. And you've got it with a chain that comes in the package. But I'm going to show you, you can also EDC this in your pocket. And I'll show you how I did that a little bit later on in the video. Not very expensive, €3. They've got it at klingenreich.de. If we'll focus, there you go. Klingenreich.de, and I'll leave links down below to make it easy for you to get this. $44 and change. That's American dollars and change. And it looks like they might be coming to North America. There's certain vendors in North America. My favorite one, White Mountain Knives, might be carrying this knife, so keep checking it out there. Maybe contact Justin over at White Mountain Knives if you see this video and you say, hey, can we get those? If enough people ask for it, that increases the odds that they'll bring it in. Otherwise, you can buy this from Germany. There's a number of stores in Germany that has it, but directly from Klingenreich, which is Battle Merchant. If you prefer that site, it's the same company. Battle Merchant, it's the guys over there that designed this knife and made in China at one of the better OEM knife making factories in China. I can't say the name of it yet. Hopefully I can in the future, but right now I can't. Not allowed to. So that's just the way that is. I can just tell you, I know that it's one of the better ones. I've reviewed a lot of knives from this company, that factory, and they make good quality stuff. Very simple little knife. Let's go to the tabletop and we'll take a good close look at it. Here we go. That's the knife. But before I get too far in it, let's take a look at the sheath. Like I said, it's a Kydex type of taco sheath. So it's just a piece of Kydex or Kydex equivalent folded over. You got 3 holes in there. They're the standard sizes. So like I'll show you later on, I used, I could put other things on here. You could even put in a tech lock on here if you wanted to. I didn't carry it that way. I did find a little belt loop that I had where it was just a simple belt loop, like a totally closed one that I put on here, and I carried it on my belt horizontally in the front for a while. I don't do scout carry in the back. It's just not something I do. I'm not going for long hikes and stuff outside walking. I can't walk that far. I've got, I've had 14, maybe it's 15 surgeries on my knee over my lifetime. Yeah, no, not doing that. Here's the chain that comes with it. It's one of those alternating dot dash chains. It's a simple enough chain, and of course I much prefer Kydex over a chain like this, so I'm just going to take this off. Kydex paracord. I prefer 550 paracord with the breakaway tabs for carrying it. It carries okay. It's quite nice, and the retention here, you can hear that click. It's a little bit loose there. I mean, a tiny bit of movement, but doesn't rattle. So it's a very tiniest bit of movement. It's just well made. A little bit of a push off right there. So if you do hold it this way, push it off and click to go in there. A little bit of a drain hole right there in case you want to carry it the way I did. And they melted their logo in there. And it's on both sides, so no matter which way you carry it, there you go. So here you go, yeah, a SEAX. Now, I did take a look at some archaeological SEAXes, so SEAXes that have been found in archaeology in the past, because I was wondering about how far back this angle was going between the straight cutting edge and this angle. And yeah, that's very common. Some of them in archaeology, you know, they're not quite as steep, and of course some of them are steeper, but a lot of them are very much like this, which means your tip can be vulnerable. But they've accommodated for that, and they've left it a little thicker at the edge than most like pocket folding knives. But it's not terribly thick. It's like 25.5 thousandths of an inch thick just behind that edge. But you need it a little bit thicker if you don't want to be, you know, risking that tip a little bit extra. We've got jimping on the spine, and it's nice big blocky jimping that actually feels good. It's not too hot, but it gives you texture. So if you want to hold it this way and, you know, do some whittling type of stuff, you know, close cutting, I mean, that works just fine. And of course, this SEAX tip on this tiny thing, putting my middle finger in that finger choil and a lot of control to do tip work kind of cutting, worked very well in the testing that I did with this. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, you got this huge forward choil. So my fingers are not really fat. My hand is just barely extra large, but that's mostly because of the breadth, the width of my hand, not so much the size of my fingers. My fingers are a little short for the size of my hand here. But even if you've got thick, more sausagey type fingers, you're going to find a lot of room in there, because as you can see, my finger still has a lot of room in there. And it feels quite comfortable, and that's partly because the handle is just so suitable to it. We've got a little bit of an angle here and an angle back there. We've got sort of rounded handle scales, so the thickest right down the middle. And then we've got this cove done along there. A little bit of jimping back here on the handle as well. And you've got these little lines milled into the handle scale as well. Just really fine little texture just to give it an extra bit of grip. If you polished, you know, this acrylic, it's going to be really slick, but this is not really slick, and so that's quite well done. The lanyard hole placement right here, it's perfect. I like it way at the back there, and it's on the little bit inset part, a little bit where that cove is. Big enough for 550 paracord, no problem. Coming out the back and not getting in your way. Very happy with that. And then the very edges of them are just lightly chamfered so that it's not hot in the hand, even if you're gripping it harder for a while. Now this little guy, this little RAK, it's not a heavy use long-term knife. You're not going to be wanting to hold this thing in your hand for 30 minutes working on a campsite. You know, that's not what this is for. I was a little bit concerned when I first got it about how narrow this is, but I don't think so. I don't think that's a problem at all for the kinds of purposes that this knife is. This tip, it's not designed for prying in the first place, because knives are not pry tools. You can get a pry tool for that. Not a problem. I'm not concerned about that. It's almost 1/8 of an inch thick, very, very close to 1/8 of an inch thick. Not a problem, in my opinion, for what this knife is. To take this thing apart, and I've not taken this thing apart yet, those I did find out, those are 2.5 hex, 2.5 millimeter hex heads. And yeah, I'm using my skiff finger bit right there to loosen that up. And let's see, that's come off, so that's going to be rotating it on this side. And let's take this one off. There you go. So yeah, no extra weight reduction in here needed. It's very light on its own. And yeah, we've got the heads on this side too. Now I did not need a second tool, holding it on one side, although technically I guess it is free spinning. Yeah, it's just a round hole in there. Yeah, not a problem. So let's put this thing back together again, and then we'll go over all the measurements. Well, hopefully you can see this. Carrying it this way, I'm using the Ulti clip. Easy, take the knife out, use the knife all you want. Easy to put it back in and carry it. It's not a problem, and it holds. Of course, the Ulti clip holds very, very well. The weight of the knife by itself, the knife is 20 grams. That's 0.705 ounces. Pretty light. You add in the chain and the sheath, and that's another 11 grams. 7 for this, 4 for this. That makes it 31 grams, 1.09 ounces. You get rid of the chain, and it's just under an ounce for the knife and the sheath. Not bad, not bad at all. Let me straighten that out on the corner there. The rest of this knife stuff, the sharpness from the factory, I got a score of 200 bests on average, which is quite good, not bad at all. The cutting edge length, so the blade there, 60.2 millimeters, 2.37 inches, so you get plenty of cutting edge. Length from the tip to the closest spot on the acrylic handle scales, 75.1 millimeters, 2.96 inches. So it's under 3 inches. So there you go, if that's how they measure it in your jurisdiction. The thickness of this blade stock, 2.94 millimeters, 0.116 of an inch. So just ever so slightly, 9 thousandths of an inch thinner than an eighth. So not bad at all. The blade depth, it's widest right at the heel because it keeps getting a little bit wider right there. 20.6 millimeters, 0.811 of an inch. How thick is it? Just behind the edge. So the main bevel, when it changes to the sharpening or apex bevel, 0.65 millimeters, 25.5 thousandths of an inch thick right there. Not bad. The grind angle's pretty good. Didn't measure it exactly, but it did well in my cutting tests. Did well in my piercing tests too. It's just a decent edge, so that's pretty good. The handle length measured across this way, that is 78 millimeters even, 3.07 inches. So yeah, not bad. The grip area in here, it's right around 8 centimeters, 3 inches, plus a little bit, depending if you add this little angle back here and how far forward you want to get. Thickness of this handle scale at the widest point right there, and it's thickest in the middle. It tapers a bit here at the tail, or at the end of the handle, a little bit here at this end. So it's thicker this way, and it's thicker this way, and it goes thinner towards the edges. So 10 millimeters even, 0.394 of an inch. Just a little guy. The handle depth this way, it's about the same here as it is here. Here it's just a tiny bit more, 17.3 millimeters, 17.2 there. That's 0.681 of an inch. Pretty small. The total length of this thing, and I rounded it, I think a tenth or two, 150 millimeters, 15 centimeters long in total, 5.9 inches. There you go. That's this knife. Pretty good if you ask me. I'm quite happy with it. The badging on it, it's just here on the one side, and it's in the handle scale, and it's that same logo right there. Nicely done, nice and subtle, looks nice. Looks old. This is old. These are the old, what's the word for this? This is the B, the same B that got adapted for the B for Bluetooth logo. I'll put the word on the screen. I don't know why my brain's blanking out on that right now, but it is. What do I think of this thing? I like this knife. I'm happy with it. I'm glad they chose stonewash. It looks nice and rugged. I probably would have, maybe I should have asked, they offered to send me a knife, and I saw that it was in blackwash and stonewash, and I said I like stonewash best. I should have said, that I wanted the blackwash. I think I'd like the blackwash one better. Maybe not, who knows. But the steel's a good choice. I'm happy with the steel. When I first read that it was an acrylic handle scale, I was kind of concerned that it would be too slippery, but it's not. It's got a decent texture. Maybe a little more texture would be nice if they, milled those lines in just a little bit more, but that's quite good. I'm quite happy with it. It's got enough jimping on it to be useful. They made it easy to use this thing. It's nice and light, lots of different uses, easy to carry. If you like neck knives, carry it that way. If you want to do at least it's really popular here in North America to do a small fixed blade as a pocket EDC, do it that way. It's quite nice. I'm happy with that thing. What do you think? Are you going to buy one of these? Are you going to hit up Justin over at White Mountain Knives and ask him if they can get these things in stock because you think it's a cool little knife? Because if it's around $44 in Europe, that's including their tax, and their tax rate is just high compared to what it is here in North America. So I'm hoping, got no idea, I'm hoping that the rate would be better in Canada, at White Mountain Knives in the United States. And if you are in Canada and you want to order this thing from outside of the country, don't worry about it. It will pass inspection, no problem coming into Canada. This kind of fixed blade is just fine coming into the country. So don't let that dissuade you. Maybe a Canadian vendor is going to take these sometime, but hopefully you'll be able to get that from White Mountain Knives and you won't have to pay the bigger shipping to get it directed to you all the way from Klingenreich in Germany. So Klingenreich, Battle Merchant, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate the chance to do a review of this knife. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Those things really do make a big difference. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.